practicing for the future. So the biggest thing when you're practicing for the future is you want to figure out what's going to cause fish to change where they're currently at and what they're currently biting. So there's a lot of factors that can determine that. First off, we got fishing pressure, water temperature, weather, boat traffic, forage movements. That's some of the different things, with the major two really being fishing pressure and weather. So that's the two things I'm going to focus on the most, is the fishing pressure and weather. As far as weather goes, I mean, you can look at any long-range forecast and determine if you've got a cold front coming or if you've got stable conditions coming, something like that. So if you know you're going to be practicing, say, I'll use a clear water lake, this no current flow, like Lake Hartwell, somewhere like that, Lake Lanier, where fish will behave differently under adverse weather conditions, like say it's cloudy, rainy, or this time of year. If you get a cloudy day and it's snowing or something like that, the fish will actually get up shallow and they will bite like crazy, versus a calm, sunny day where fish tend to relate more to the bottom and more to structure and things like that. So you can practice for situations like that. Like if it's slick and sunny and you know it's going to be nasty weather during the tournament, there's a lot of things that you will practice on and not get a bite. But like, say, let me dial out a scenario. Say rocky points or something like that, riprap banks, stretches where that wind's pounding in that you normally wouldn't even think about fishing if it's slick and sunny. You can burn down that bank in the wintertime right now with a crankbait if you get that nasty weather conditions, and you can catch a lot of fish and a lot of big fish that you could not catch in any other time of the year, or not really time of the year, but any other scenario in the winter where you've got slick sunshine. They just won't bite that stuff. They're not up there, they're not active, they're not feeding. So that weather can open up a bite window for you that wasn't there a couple of days ago. But I'm not going to dwell on that because I feel like everybody can kind of has an idea of what fish are going to do in a certain weather situation. You know, if it's cold front coming, you know, your fish are normally going to back off. You're going to have to slow down a little bit or something like that. That's pretty normal information that's already out there. The biggest thing to me is fishing pressure by obviously ourselves. I've said it for years that as bass fishermen, we're our own worst enemies, because we want to grow the sport. It's my job to promote the companies, promote the baits, make everybody a better fisherman. But at the same time, I'm cutting my own throat because I'm making y'all better fishermen, and then y'all are out there competing with me doing the same thing I'm doing. So that's added pressure to those fish, and it changes a lot of things. Yes?
Do you feel like you're pressuring the fish yourself as you're fishing to the point that you got to change bait or what?
I really do. Then you can put the pressure on them yourself. The question was, do I feel like I pressure fish? And that's very true. I mean, fish will get used to seeing the same baits and the same presentations. But the biggest thing when it comes to it is to preparing for the future is figuring out where those fish are going to go with that added boat pressure and added angling pressure. So when I first started fishing the FLW tour, you know, your obvious structure, you know, your bridges, your beautiful riprap points, or your beautiful brushy docks, things like that, you know, everybody can look at and see. Like if you ride down the lake and say you're at Gunnersville, and I mean, of course, everybody knows now, but you're going into North Saudi or South Saudi, like obviously those bridge riprap points, that's where the most fish are going to be at any given time. And there's still a lot of fish caught on structure like that. But I would fish that stuff, and I would catch 3 or 4 there in practice, and I'm like, all right, this is going to be good. And then go back in the tournament and sit there for 2 hours and not get a bite and wonder what happened. And that's because there might have been 20 fish sitting there on that riprap point. I pull up there in practice, catch 1 or 2. Another boat comes in an hour later, they catch 1 or 2. Another boat comes in a couple hours later, they catch 1 or 2. So by the time you've got 200 boats on the water practicing for 2 or 3 days, by the time that 3-day practice period's over, those fish have been fished for by 150 different guys.
Bass U, folks. Information is pouring over. If you want to learn more about every lake, how to fish, shallow, deep, in between, skipping docks and rocks and cranking, slow wiggling, chatter, smattering, you get it at Bass U. Get on Bass U TV, check it out, sign up, be a member, be part of it, folks. Keep learning.